There is a quiet strength in choosing yourself, especially when it means walking a path no one else is walking with you. Normalize walking some paths alone. Not because you're broken. Not because you don't deserve company. But because your vision is calling you, and not everyone can hear it. There is sacred ground that can only be walked in solitude. And often, the most transformative moments of your life will be the ones you walk through alone, in silence, in discomfort, with no one clapping for you. And that's okay. Actually, it's more than okay. That's power. There's something no one really talks about when you start healing. It gets lonely. Not because you're not loved, but not because you're not lovable. But because healing changes your taste, your habits, your boundaries, your standards. And suddenly, what once felt familiar begins to feel foreign. You stop calling the same people. You stop entertaining the same conversations. You outgrow places that felt like home. And as beautiful as growth is, it's also unsettling. Because no one tells you that when you rise, the air gets thinner. Quieter. Lonelier. But here's the truth most people are afraid to say: walking alone doesn't mean being lost. Sometimes it means you found the kind of direction that doesn't require validation. You no longer need a map, or a crowd. You are following something deeper, something louder than applause, your own intuition. And intuition often whispers. You have to get quiet to hear it. And in the quiet, you start to realize, peace was always better than popularity. Solitude was always more honest than approval. And your own voice? It was always the one worth listening to. Normalize choosing your mental peace over someone else's comfort. Normalize canceling plans that drain your spirit. Normalize saying no without guilt. Normalize letting people misunderstand you if it means staying in alignment with your truth. Normalize walking away even if they call you selfish. You're not selfish. You're self-aware. You are no longer shrinking to fit into places that never saw you clearly to begin with. And yes, that can be a lonely road, but it's yours. And that makes it sacred. So many people will never understand why you pulled away. Why you changed your number. Why you stopped showing up. But you'll understand. You'll know. Because you felt your energy dimming every time you were around certain people. You noticed how your light was being siphoned, how your dreams were being diluted. And at some point, you stopped asking for permission to be your fullest self. You stopped needing anyone else to approve your journey. And that's when the real path opened. This is what most people miss: the walk alone is the initiation. It is where you become who you were meant to be. Because when you strip away the noise, the influence, the distractions, what's left is the core of you. Raw. Real. And ready. That's when you learn how to carry yourself. That's when you learn the rhythm of your own heartbeat. That's when you learn the difference between loneliness and liberation. One chains you to what no longer serves you. The other sets you free. The path of solitude is not empty. It is full of truth. It's full of messages, signs, synchronicities. You begin to notice things. The way your body reacts to different environments. The shift in energy when certain people enter or leave a room. The tension in your spirit when you betray yourself to keep the peace. And in those quiet moments, you start making promises to yourself. Promises like, I will never abandon myself again. I will never settle for half love. I will never pretend I'm okay just to make others comfortable. You weren't born to be a background character in your own life. And sometimes the only way to reclaim the main role is to step away from the script everyone else is following. To say, this isn't for me anymore. To let go of what looks good and go after what feels right. That's a brave thing to do. And it often happens when no one is watching. When you're curled up on the floor at 2 a.m. questioning everything. When you're in your car, crying but knowing you're not turning back. When you're making choices that don't make sense to anyone else but feel like freedom to you. That is power. That is walking with purpose. That is what it means to normalize walking alone. There will be seasons where your phone barely rings. Where the silence feels deafening. Where no one checks in. And it's easy to think you're being punished. But baby, you're being positioned. You're being purified. You're being stripped of every false identity, every toxic attachment, every soul tie that kept you small. This isn't loneliness. This is the cocoon. This is the metamorphosis. You're not lost. You're not behind. You're not broken. You are simply in the sacred space between who you were and who you're becoming. And that space requires solitude. It requires silence. It requires boundaries. It requires trust in a vision no one else can see. Sometimes people will leave, not because you're too much, but because they were never meant to stay for the whole journey. Some connections expire. Some bonds fade. And that's not a failure. That's alignment. That's elevation. The higher you go, the lighter you must become. You can't take everything with you. And honestly, not everything deserves to go with you. Especially not the versions of you that tolerated less, played small, or pretended to be okay. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your growth. You don't need to water yourself down for anyone's comfort. You don't need to be accessible to people who couldn't be present for your pain. You are allowed to choose yourself. Again. And again. And again. Even if that means walking away from people you once prayed would stay. Walking alone doesn't mean you won't have love. It doesn't mean you're doomed to be misunderstood forever. It means you're creating space for the real thing. The kind of connection that doesn't require performance. The kind of love that sees you as you are, not as who you pretend to be. But that kind of love only finds you when you're living in your truth. And sometimes, you have to walk a while alone before you get there. So keep walking. Keep trusting. Keep honoring that quiet nudge inside you, the one that says, there's more. The one that won't let you settle. The one that keeps pushing you to level up. You didn't come this far to stop now. You didn't survive all that pain to stay the same. You didn't lose all those people to stay in hiding. Your story is not over. It's just unfolding. And the most powerful chapters will be the ones you wrote when no one else was clapping. When you were your own cheerleader. When you kept going even when the path was dark. You will look back one day and realize the walk alone was the most important part. It taught you how to love yourself. It taught you how to listen to your soul. It taught you how to stop begging for scraps and start building a feast. It taught you how to be whole. So normalize walking away from chaos. Normalize creating distance from people who drain you. Normalize choosing joy, peace, and purpose over people pleasing. Normalize walking alone, because often, that's the only way to find yourself. Don't be afraid of solitude. Fear the cost of staying in spaces that stunt your growth. Fear betraying your own spirit just to keep someone around. Fear the version of you who knew better, but didn't act. You deserve better than that. And deep down, you know it. This journey is not about being perfect. It's about being honest. Honest about what you need. Honest about what no longer fits. Honest about where you're headed, even if no one else gets it. The real ones will catch up later. Or they won't. Either way, you'll be fine. You were not made to be a copy. You were not made to be digestible. You were made to disrupt, to shift, to elevate. And that kind of energy requires a different kind of path. One that often looks empty at first, but it is full of destiny. So, if you're in that season right now, the in-between, the isolation, the silence, I want you to know, this is not the end. This is the clearing. The preparation. The breaking so you can rebuild. Stronger. Wiser. More aligned. More you. Take the walk. Take the space. Take the time. And don't apologize for it. Don't apologize for needing room to breathe. Don't apologize for outgrowing what once felt safe. Don't apologize for wanting more, for yourself, for your life, for your soul. This is your permission slip. You don't need company to be complete. You don't need applause to have purpose. You don't need to be understood to keep moving forward. Your path is yours. And if you have to walk it alone for a while, so be it. One day, people will ask how you did it. How you changed. How you glowed up. How you found peace. And you'll smile, knowing that the most powerful parts of your story were the ones no one saw. The ones you lived in the quiet. The ones you walked alone. And when you do arrive at your next level, surrounded by the right people, aligned with your purpose, overflowing with joy, you'll know it was worth it. Every step. Every tear. Every lonely night. You'll realize, you were never really alone. You were always being guided. You were always becoming. Normalize walking some paths alone,